Annuals, biennials, and perennials. In this video, I'm explaining the differences between them, and I'm also giving you my top picks. This video is part of the Gardening Basics playlist. I'll link it in the description. There's no need to take notes for this video. There's a free guide. It has all the plants we'll discuss today, complete with photos, light requirements, and hardiness zones where applicable. I'll link it in the description and the pinned comment. If you're new here, welcome to Garden Unwind. My name is Cindy, and this channel is all about helping you grow a garden you love. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Let's start with annuals. Annuals complete their life cycle in one growing season. They bloom, produce seed, and then they die. You might wonder, why bother with annuals if they only last one growing season? Well, annuals have some advantages to other plants. Number one, they're fast growers. Number two, they are really good bloomers. They bloom more and for longer than most other plants. It's nice to have annuals in your garden because then you're sure there's always something blooming, especially for those pollinators. They're great to put in containers since you can count on them to bloom nonstop. Plus, they're easy to start from seed. You can go from a tiny seedling to a full-grown mature plant in no time. Many varieties are self-seeding, so if you do leave the seed heads up, those seeds will spread. They will survive through the winter many times, and when the weather warms up, they will germinate and give you brand new plants in the same spot. So sometimes you can get away without having to replant them the next year. Just remember, leave the seed heads intact, don't mulch too heavily, and be careful not to pull the seedlings out when you weed. You want to get to know what the seedlings look like so you don't mistake them for weeds. Some of my favorite annuals include sunflowers, cosmos, pansies, alyssum, zinnias, and calendula. These can easily be started from seed, and they do a good job self-sowing. Biennials. Biennials complete their life cycle over 2 growing seasons. In the first year, they grow roots, leaves, stems, and then it's the next year that they flower. Like most seeds, they need warmth to germinate, but they need that cold period to trigger the flowering. That's why it's best to plant biennials in summer. The seeds easily germinate in the warm weather, and then the plants make it through the winter. That triggers flowering, and then the next year you get flowers. Biennials in my garden are foxgloves and hollyhocks. That's when I started my foxgloves in the summer, planted them in the fall, and then I got flowers the next spring, and they're such prolific reseeders, as are my hollyhocks. I don't need to replant them. I just leave the seed heads up, they drop their seeds, and I have a good supply of foxgloves and hollyhocks. But you might think in the beginning, waiting that whole first year for blooms can be excruciating. And there are newer varieties that do bloom the first year that you can get to get around this. But the thing is, the biennials, they're just more robust plants because they have a chance ahead of time to build that root system, so the plants grow bigger and they also get more blooms, and the blooms tend to last longer. If you have a hard time waiting that long for your plants to flower though, I do recommend planting both the newer varieties that flower the first year and plant the biennials. The last section is my most favorite type of plant, as my garden is filled with them. Perennials. Perennials are any plants that last 2 years or longer. There are short-lived perennials, long-lived perennials. They can last up to decades. Peonies are known for this. They're a great choice for a low-maintenance garden because you plant them once, cut them back once, maybe twice a year, and they just keep performing. They add so much beauty and elegance to your garden. There's a saying about perennials: the first year they sleep, the second year they creep, and then the third year they leap. This is true, and it's just so satisfying to go through those few years and watch your perennials fill out. And when you get to the point where they are mature, it is just so satisfying. But until you get to that point, you may want to plant annuals in between so that you always have a full lush garden in the meantime. But once your garden is established, you're gonna find you have less room to plant annuals and you have less of a need to plant annuals. So the garden becomes lower and lower maintenance, which is great because each year you're not getting any younger. You're getting older, having new aches and pains. But as this happens, the garden is making it easier and easier on you, which is a beautiful thing. One of my favorite short-lived perennials is Cherokee Sunset Rudbeckia. It doesn't last that long. You can only get a couple of years out of it, but I don't mind this because it is such a prolific reseeder. It spreads all over the garden and it pops up into new varieties. It's fun surprises, and it's just such a beautiful plant. My other top picks for perennials include yarrow, feverfew, peonies, lavender, bearded iris, These are all great for sunny spots. For my shadier areas, I love astilbes, hosta, fern, Siberian iris. What are your favorites? Let me know in the comments. If you are dealing with deer in your garden, you'll want to watch this video before you go plant shopping because it gives you plenty of options that the deer will stick their nose up at. They won't take a bite, at least 99% of them, because some of you have some crazy deer out there. Take care. Thanks for watching.